Black Souls is a Japanese Gunner game made in RPG Maker, and it may be the greatest JRPG of all time. Yeah, I said it. Sometimes the truth hurts. We have long since left the era of Square Enix making good RPGs. If you want the good shit, you're going to have to do a little bit of dumpster diving. Sometimes a team of 5,000 people simply cannot compete with one man who looked at Dark Souls and thought, yeah, I could beat my meat to that. What I'm trying to say is, I know it sounds absurd, but this game is so good, it is genuinely worth playing with both hands. And to show you the strength of my conviction, the game has a setting that lets you turn off all adult content, and I did it. No carnal acts for me, because I am a good Christian boy. Only a black screen and the implication of something naughty. But enough with the introductions, subscribe to the channel for more bullshit, and let's get into what makes this game so great. So what's this game actually about? And tell me if it sounds a little familiar. You are a lonely undead trapped within a jail cell who is released by a helpful knight who soon dies horrifically. You are then told that the world has fallen under a mysterious fog that turns men into beasts, and you must slay the evil princess and clear the fog, bringing sanity back to the world. To reach her, you must explore a vast open world, growing in strength, killing monsters, gaining party members, all in search of 4 other evil princesses who must die, or you could fuck them. Did I mention this was a Gunner game? And in doing so, you unlock the gates to the evil princess's castle. Doesn't this sound pretty familiar? Because it's just Dark Souls. And just like Dark Souls, this game is bleak, and I mean real bleak. When Dark Souls is described as a dying world, you don't really feel it that much, because it really just plays like any other video game where you're going through levels, killing people. If you start reading the lore, then it becomes a little more clear how dark the game's story really is. But let's be honest, most people aren't doing that. At best, they're watching a YouTube video about it later. In Black Souls, you cannot escape it. The theming of the game is fairy tales, and these are the darkest, most fucked version of these fairy tales. In Dark Souls, you walk in on a boss fight and ooh, big scary dragon. He eats people. Oh no. In Black Souls, you walk into a boss fight and it's a giant ogre, let's say, having his way with his maids to death. You then make fun of him for being naked and beat his punk ass, so everything's okay in the end. But you see what I'm saying when I say this game is dark, like actually dark, and you're a part of that darkness. You see, this game gives you some options you don't get in other games. I keep trying to tell you it is a Gunner game, but I would argue this isn't just for the sake of beating your meat. I mean, that's certainly part of it, but it's not the most important part. What does it mean to be good? What does it mean to do the right thing? You wouldn't call a machine good. You would not call a car good. Even though what it is doing may be objectively good, it's moving people around, maybe it's moving medicine to an important place to save some people, but I still wouldn't call an ambulance good because it doesn't have a choice. It's only doing what it has to do, what it is being forced to do. It is the choice that makes things meaningful. This is a dark and bleak world where horrible things happen to good people. And this is a video game where you can do whatever you want. There is no consequence. They're not real. So you can be a part of that bleak world doing horrible things to good people. It is even partially incentivized. It may be why you're here. It is a Gunner game after all. Or you could choose to be the hero. You could choose to be the light in this bleak world, to do the right thing, not because you get anything out of it, but because it feels good to be good, to see the option, to do the wrong thing, and to choose to do the right thing anyway. What makes good choices meaningful is the option to do bad. That's what free will is. A huge mistake these modern AAA cuck games make is they have a big ol' story about how violence is bad, revenge is bad, as they force you to kill a bunch of people. Well, in this game, you have the option. At no point do you have to do it. The game doesn't force you to engage in the carnal acts and then make fun of you for doing so. No, you always have the option. And I chose to be the light in the dark. And it felt great killing these evil monsters and saving the princesses, even at my own sacrifice. Except for the mermaid. That bitch had to die. Same with Snow White. She also had to die. But other than that, I was good. So when I tell you my degenerate booby game is one of the greatest RPGs ever made, I'm not telling you that in spite of its own nature, but because of its nature. That the game is made better for its inclusion, even if I literally had it turned off. Could not see it, black screen. The act of petting the dog is only meaningful if I can also kill the dog, which I would never do, but the option is important. But what about the gameplay? This is a video game. The gameplay should be the most important part. Well, I have good news for you, because normally turn-based RPGs, the gameplay is dog shit. But as you should not be surprised by now, that is also great. But before I talk about the combat, let me explain what you're going to be doing most of the time, which I know sounds lame, but I promise is really cool, because this is a JRPG with a true open world, completely open. Go wherever you want, whenever you want, with your ability to explore only inhibited by your ability to defeat strong enemies. And there is no level scaling here. If you want to, at level 1, you can go and fight a bunch of level 100 enemies. I've never liked level scaling. What makes RPGs feel good to play is progression. It's going to fight an enemy, getting your ass beat, and then coming back later and whooping his ass. Or even better than that, fighting an enemy you know you're not supposed to be able to beat yet and winning anyway. Telling the game, fuck you, I'm smarter than you, I'm better than you. It feels good. And what are you exploring for? Well, of course you have the macro of trying to find the princesses so that you can kill them or fuck them, who knows. But also the micro of finding cool new areas, cool new bosses to fight, and then to gain the rewards of new items and even new party members. Something I would consider to be the greatest reward of all in any RPG is new party members, because what those represent is new gameplay opportunities. For exploration to feel good, you have to be rewarded for it. Although exploration is a reward in and of itself, players also want to find a thing of some sort, something to be gained, to feel like they're not wasting their time, that they're progressing in some way. I'm just saying, metal detecting on the beach, real fun, but probably a lot more fun if you found like a diamond ring or something. Well, if you like a video game, the greatest reward of all is more video game or more gameplay opportunities. So something like a stat increase is a reward, but it's kind of lame because it doesn't change how you play in any way. It doesn't add anything to the gameplay. Now, something like new equipment, or best of all, a new party member, adds a completely new dynamic to the game. You can now build your character differently. You have more options in battle. Fights that may have been impossible before are now possible. You have to rethink your strategy and how you play the game. And all of this is over just finding an item or a character. And once this happens once, you are now forever excited whenever you go into a new area or discover a new secret. And you're constantly thinking to yourself, oh, I wonder where I can go now that I have this, so that I can get more cool shit and do more cool stuff and fight more cool bosses. So the primary gameplay loop involves walking in a random direction, exploring as far as you can go until you hit a roadblock, a challenge of some kind that you cannot conquer. Then you head in another random direction, going as far as you can go until you discover something new, maybe get a new item, a new character that suddenly makes that roadblock not impossible anymore. And then you can continue in that direction. Or maybe you just found a new route that seems cool and you head in that direction. And this makes the world feel profoundly vast, because in the back of your head, you always have 2, 3, 4, even more directions you could be going in. So if you ever get bored, stuck, or lost, you can always just head in one of those other directions and make forward progress. And you are always getting rewarded with new gameplay opportunities for exploring something you want to be doing anyway. Okay, now I keep talking about these gameplay opportunities and bosses to fight, but I haven't actually told you what the combat entails. Well, it's just your standard JRPG. I take my turn, then you take your turn. But the difference is, Black Souls actually does it well, as opposed to the other games, which do it like shit. Most JRPGs are just a numbers game. If your numbers are high enough, your damage is strong enough, you win. Use strong move, kill enemy, heal damage. Not that complex. Black Souls, however, is based on Dark Souls, a game where you could beat it at level 1, and believe it or not, not, this game's exactly the same. Let me just walk you through the very first boss to show you what I mean. So you got a big dragon. He kills you in like 2 hits, and he takes like 30 hits to die. It seems like one of those impossible fights at the beginning of every Dark Souls game, because if you die to this guy, you're good to go. You're fine. You don't actually have to beat him, but you can, and it's not that hard. You just have to understand that you're gonna have to use your fucking brain. So the dragon has 2 attacks. He can either hit you or breathe fire on you, and when he breathes fire, he charges up first. Now, no matter what class you start with, you have these 2 skills, dodge and parry. Dodge makes you immune to magic, and parry makes you immune to physical attacks, and you also hit them back. So to beat the big dragon, you spam parry, and then when you see him charge up, you spam dodge, and you pay attention to his action bar so you know when he's going to attack, and spam attacks in between. And if you do it right, you can slowly chip him down before you run out of mana, what you use to dodge and parry, and you can win the fight. Something that would be genuinely impossible if you just spam the attack button. Now that's still really simple, so let me give you one more example. Now this is the second boss, or at least it could be, because you can go in any direction like I said before, but it is a boss where you have to fight a bunch of animals at the same time, and they all attack independently, have separate health bars, and provide different statuses when they hit you. And in my first battle with them, I got completely obliterated. Look at this fight. It doesn't even look possible. That's how fucked I was. This is clearly the point in basically any other game where it's like, all right, time to grind. I mean, I got 1 attack off. This can't be possible. But if you pay attention to the fight, the reason why I lost is I got stunned. That was really the only problem. And when you get stunned in this game, you cannot act at all. So you just get beat on for like several turns. So although it looks like these guys do way more damage, the reality is they don't do that much. They just hit me over the course of many turns where I couldn't do anything. So now on round 2, I'm just paying attention. You can watch the action bars to see who's going to attack and when. And I just make sure to always parry the dog because he's who was stunning me. And once he's low enough to kill him, I kill his ass, and then you can play the fight normally. And just by paying attention, noticing who was hitting me and what statuses they were causing, the fight went from completely impossible, didn't even look close, to being very easy. And that's really all I want from JRPG combat. I just want to be rewarded for paying attention. You'd be surprised how rare that is. And of course, those are only the first 2 bosses. The game gets much more complex from there, especially when you add in the other party members and all of the cool equipment you can get. And let's talk about the party members for just a moment. Now, they work much different here than they do in other RPGs because this is supposed to be Dark Souls. So instead of them being in your party at all times, you summon them during a fight. You use a turn to bring them into the fight, and then they work like party members in any other JRPG. So because of this, they can't equip any equipment, but you can level them up how you would level up in Dark Souls. You feed them souls you get from killing enemies. That's how you level up too. Same way as Dark Souls. A little worse because it's more like Dark Souls 2 where you have to always go to the hub area to level up, but it's fine. It's not that big of a deal. You can warp to any bonfire from the beginning of the game. And because these party members are summons, they're mainly about supporting your own gameplay. So as an example, you have Joan d'Arc. This is your knight from the beginning who saved you from the jail cell. She gets killed by the big dragon, the first boss, but you can bring her back to life because this is a bleak world, but I'm the hero in the bleak world, and no amount of darkness will escape my light. So anyway, she is a knight. She protects. So she has the ability to provoke the enemy, meaning they will only target her, but she also has the ability to make herself basically completely invincible at the cost of some health. So over the course of 2 turns, you can make your entire party immune to single target damage. Seems pretty strong, but she's very slow. So although this is a 2-turn setup, that might be 7 of the boss's turns, and he obliterates you before you can even do anything. No, the real meta is with my girl Leaf, the very first party member, an evil fairy who tries to tell you to do all of the bad things. Or not, she doesn't really care. And what she has are buffs, one of which is speed. She buffs the agility of your entire party, and speed determines when you get your turn back, meaning more turns, or more turns to increase your speed even higher. And then you can use those turns to increase your attack, or your defense, or just beat the enemy to death before he can even do anything. Kind of broken, broken. But that's not even the half of it, because leveling up in this game is super simplified. All you get from leveling up is an increase in stats. You can level up your party members and they'll get new skills to a point. But for you, all it is numbers go up. Instead, how you learn new skills is through new weapons. And then those weapons, as you upgrade them, give you more skills. You can also equip sorceries, but sorcery is lame. I don't give a fuck. I'm a big knight with a big sword beating people to death. But either way, the only way to get new skills is through exploration. Do you see how they connect? Do you see how it's cool? So anyway, let me give you one more example. So I'm fighting one of the big bosses here. This is the Mermaid Princess. Remember, there's only 4 of these, and you have to either kill or fuck them, and no naughty things for me, so it's murder only. And she has 2 parts of her fight. There's a big, pretty mermaid form, where if you hit her, she kills you, and there's a big tentacle form, where you can hit her back, but she'll also beat your ass. So to win the fight, we have to do as much damage as possible while she's in the tentacle form. So I have 2 pieces of equipment that I found through beating bosses and exploration to help me with this. So I have a ring that doubles my attack at the cost of accuracy, because I have God on my side. I don't need luck. Then I have a sword, the flame sword. I hit him, sets him on fire, and then it has a skill that does double damage if the enemy's on fire. So acting out the plan, phase 1, summon the bitches. Then the bitches buff me up all crazy like. The tentacle form comes out, I tank 1 attack to set her on fire, and then I kill her in 1 fucking hit. Easy peasy, no problem. And that's just one way to do the fight. There are plenty of other ways, plenty of other builds. The point is, I used exploration to find good equipment to create a real strategy rather than just grinding and leveling up my way through. So those are the 3 pillars that make this game genuinely great. It's a bleak, interesting world with meaningful decisions, fun and interesting exploration, and a combat system that you actually have to use your brain just a little bit. And now that I've explained that to you, I will let you in on a little secret. In case the game sounds a little bit too hard, maybe you couldn't handle Dark Souls, the reality is you actually can just grind your way through the game. Now, obviously there is level ups, it still is an RPG, but on top of that, there are also skill items you can find that will increase one of your stats. And these items can be grinded basically infinitely and extremely easily. Speed is by far the most important stat in this game because it determines how many turns you get per your enemy's turns. And the yellow soul, which increases your speed stat, can be grinded from the weakest enemy in the game, the rat. You can watch how easy it is as I kill 5 rats in a single attack over and over again. And if you're really struggling, you don't even have to do that, because every time you die, you get a black soul, which increases all of your stats. Now, I've never engaged with that because I save scum, so technically I've never died in this game. So I'm just saying, if the last hurdle to you trying this game is thinking it's gonna be too hard, don't worry about it. If you really want it to be, it can be as easy as you want, which is either a good thing or a bad thing depending on who you ask. I have no problem with just ignoring that stuff. It's for that reason that I kind of call this baby's first schizo RPG. What I'd describe as a schizo RPG is like a brutally difficult turn-based RPG that gives you a million options with the goal of breaking the game. That in order to progress, you basically have to find an extremely broken build. The reality of this game is you really don't have that many options because all you have is 1 equipment slot and 1 weapon slot. Combine that with all the summons and any magic you want to equip, and you do end up with a lot of options, but it's not nearly as many as other schizo RPGs. If this video does well enough, maybe I'll go over one of the real ones, subscribe. But while I think that's what personally endears me to the game, that is not the main appeal. The main appeal are the interesting characters, the cool world, the dark theming that you don't see elsewhere, and the joy of exploration. While plenty of games have dark themes or a dark atmosphere, it is very uncommon for a game to be this dark, this uncompromising, and still have a sense of joy, levity, and allows you to be a true hero. Sort of. Just don't look too deeply into the endings. So with that, it's time to talk about the story. I've waited this long to talk about the story because, like Dark Souls, you can completely ignore it if you want to. In fact, there may be someone in this very room who doesn't care about video game stories at all. But this one isn't so bad. It's pretty neat. It's kind of hard to describe without spoiling it all. But it's neat in that it follows the formula of any fairy tale, given the theming of the game is fairy tales, where the primary message is be careful what you wish for. In fact, it's kind of a slapstick of multiple people wishing for multiple things and it making the world worse and worse every time. That's just the overarching story though. What's beneath the surface, the deep lore, the main story that's just driving you through the game is just save the world. And along the way, you have mini stories that are just sub-quests you find throughout the game. That as you explore, you meet characters and you can help those characters along the way or kill them, sometimes both. These are mostly just fun to see how the fairy tales have been corrupted. Like the tortoise and the hare are now two knights who are racing to get a treasure. And the tortoise is tricking the hare into various traps, and the hare is a psycho who wants to murder the tortoise. And at the end of the story, you get to pick which one you want to kill. So that's neat. I killed the hare because he seems like a psycho. Or Dorothy, who is now an evil witch, and the Tin Man, Lion Man, and Straw Man are her failed apprentices who you have to murder. That is if you want Dorothy as a party member. But like I said, you can basically ignore all of this if you want to. And instead, the story can be of you finding your wife and living happily ever after once you save the world. It is only if you really like the game do you start looking into the other endings, and then you get the deeper story of eldritch horrors and wishing for things and such. No, what's driving you through the narrative and makes it interesting is not the story per se, it's the juxtaposition. It's seeing cute fairy tales warped into horrible, horrible things and then murdering the evil monsters that come from it. I didn't go too deeply into the characters because I think they're best off experienced for yourself. Kill them, save them, maybe do some other things that you definitely shouldn't be doing to them. It's your choice. Anyway, go play the game. It's on Steam now. Make sure to buy it before Visa or MasterCard gets it unlisted. Subscribe for more. Bye.